I'm Emily.
And I'm Kayla.
And we just want to talk movies.
And today we're talking about a specific movie.
Yes, we are! Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes.
These new monkey movie.
These titles are so wordy.
Yeah, so true. War for the Planet of the Apes. Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. There's so many conjunctions.
Yeah, conjunction junction.
What's your function? Don't know. What was this movie's function? That's the real question.
That's what we will be investigating in today's review of the newest entry in the Planet of the Apes franchise.
But first, news bulletin. You go first.
Okay, so the biggest and most exciting news I have is that we got the announcement of Red, White, and Royal Blue 2, and I am freaking out. Hearing that news just made my little heart so happy. I don't know how I'm gonna wait this long for it, because I haven't even finished writing it yet.
I know. Why did they have to announce it so soon? Even though I've been begging for an announcement.
Begging. And we finally got some more interviews with Taylor and Nick, because we were robbed of a lot of them since the movie came out pretty much in the middle of the strike. So there wasn't really a lot of promotion. But finally they did some interviews together again, which is very nice. Yeah, I'm so excited. I don't know what to say. I think... Normally, I'd be like, we don't need a sequel, but
I feel like we need a sequel.
We need a sequel so bad, especially if you've read the bonus chapter at the end of the book in the special edition. We definitely need to see all of that in movie form. But they might go in a completely new direction, which I'm okay with too, as long as it's happy and fluffy and beautiful.
Yeah, I want them to get married. And then,
ballroom waltz.
And Alex becomes Princess of England.
Yes. That would be crazy. I'm
just excited.
The Duchess.
Yeah, the Duchess of Wales.
Oh.
I'm ready for, and then Uma Thurman comes back with her amazing accent.
Yes. Oh.
And we all have a fun and slightly ridiculous time. And that's so all we need.
Yep. So, anywho, more exciting news is Young Woman in the Sea premiered to very good reception, as far as I hear so far.
Nice.
And Daisy looked gorgeous, of course, at the premiere, as she always does. And I think on the same day, possibly, or at least around the same time, we had the premiere of Megalopolis at Cannes, which is a movie I've talked about a few times on here because I'm a very big Adam Driver fan. And this movie I've been like on and off.
There are some interesting things.
Interesting things being said. We got a teaser trailer, which was weird. We got a longer teaser trailer, which was weirder.
I have not seen either. I've just seen the pictures of him with his awful hair.
Yes. Oh god, the wig. Yeah. So it's one of those movies that is just really bizarre, like sci-fi fantasy in modern times, or I don't know, dystopian.
Yeah.
Just very weird. And those movies either work really, really well or just crash and burn so hard. And
it sounds like the latter has happened.
Yeah.
I saw a tweet that said that, like, someone saw a girl walk out of the theater, call her dad, and say, "Dad, it's so bad."
Which should make me, like, upset and disappointed, but it honestly just makes me more excited.
I know, it's at least gonna be intriguing.
Yeah. I remember when Annette was first coming out and it was getting tons of horrible reviews. I was thinking to myself, like, regardless if it's bad, it's still gonna be an amazing time, because this sounds like some whack stuff happening.
I heard that Adam Driver breaks into the to be or not to be soliloquy from Hamlet at one point. I'll be seated.
Yeah, I'm always seated for Adam Driver, even when he works with an awful person like Francis Ford Coppola. Speaking of which, nothing but happiness for me that his movie's getting torn apart.
Yeah.
Because
yeah, there's that. There's like, I like Adam Driver, but also I'm happy that this movie he's in is being torn apart.
Garbage. Yeah, anyway, I'll still watch it because of Adam. Annette ended up being my favorite movie of 2021, even though it's definitely a very out there and odd
It is.
film. That's very much, it seems like the same kind of style. I feel like it takes place in the real world, but reality isn't
weird.
a thing.
Yeah.
But I think Annette, the way it was done, ended up working just perfectly. But we'll see about this. I'm not sure it'll be the same story. Anywho, that's my news.
That's your news. Well, I think the only news we have, folks, from my side is Stranger Things news. Anyway, one big news is we have Ross Duffer is back on Instagram. We've been missing him. He's been MIA. Where has this boy been? He is back, and he has posted behind-the-scenes pictures of Nancy and Jonathan, and they look pretty much exactly like they did in season 3.
Oh, great. His little boy haircut.
Yeah, his hair's back to
God.
season 3 hair. Nancy, she kind of looks like she did in season 4. She's poofy hair, bangs, stuff like that. But they're in the back of Steve's car, which is interesting. Why?
Where everyone wants to be.
I guess so. I mean, the throuple vibes are strong in this one. Anyway, they look like they're looking at something and they look scared. So, what could it be? That's why it's reminding me of season 3, I think, because that scene when the monster's coming after them in the car outside of the mall, it's reminding me of that. Then we got a picture of the Duffers looking at the monitor, probably viewing some playback, and we have Charlie Heaton, Natalia Dyer, and Joe Keery standing behind them. So Steve is definitely on site. The throuple vibes are strong. Anyway, then we have a picture of Maya Hawke doing something weird. She's like dancing. She looks like Robin. She's got a scarf. She's got like some sort of scrunchie. Looks like she's in a barn. It's a very strange picture. Then we have more pictures of Jonathan. A weird VFX shot. Emily, let me show you this.
Oh.
It looks like it's from The Sims, but
That
when The
does
Sims
look
glitches.
Gorgadouche!
Gorgadouche. Then we have the truck that's supposedly from the radio station set that they've been filming at a ton. We've been seeing this truck everywhere. It's just like a blue truck with the logo on it. A G.I. Joe lunchbox, metallic lunchbox, and then like a Transformer shirt. And then that's pretty much all he posted. So they're getting to work behind the scenes. Things are happening. There was one more picture. I don't remember who posted this. Oh, I think it was just their production company, Upside Down Pictures, of more behind the scenes, mostly of the directors. But there's one intriguing picture where it looks like the Duffers are sitting with someone else on the team in a giant egg that is like torn open and looks all musty and upside downy inside. So some sort of behind the scenes, maybe some special effects behind the scenes. I don't know. Looks very interesting. I don't know what it could be. And that's pretty much it.
Okay, so we are going to get into our review of Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. There are going to be spoilers throughout the whole review, because we can't talk about a movie without talking about the whole thing. So if you haven't seen it and you want to, watch it first and then come back and see our review. Or, just watch our review.
Sometimes I like to do that. Sometimes it makes me want to see the film once I've already been spoiled.
I mean, there's not like jaw-dropping spoilers, but we're going to talk about everything that happens in the movie. So let's start off with the positives. What we liked about this film. Do you want to go first?
Sure. Well, I love any Planet of the Apes movie. I will be watching it very engagedly. And I think that this was interesting. I like how since it did take place so much further into the future, we got a totally whole new world to explore.
Like Aladdin.
Yes, yes, a whole new world. We got to see what some of my favorite shots were just of them walking through the world, and like you see the city, but it's completely overtaken with vegetation, and there are still like street lights and roads. I think that production design was really cool. The action sequences were actually really good, because of the camera work that they were doing. I think the opening sequence where the main character's little clan, their village, gets basically destroyed, that was really cool. Like, you could feel, they really made you feel the change of pace. Like, oh, now we're getting into the plot, because the camera work just like went up several notches. Mm-hmm. And then the sequence at the end where the military base is flooding, that stuff looked really cool. The water effects were pretty good on the apes, especially.
Yep.
And yeah, that stuff like pulled me in. I also love the whole sequence when they are looking back at the children's books that are in the military base, and they're seeing what the world was like back then, because it's such an interesting sort of characters to follow who don't know anything about what happened in the last movies that we've seen. They're just living in this world, and this is their reality. They don't know what it would have been. So it was sort of interesting when they went into that. I still think overall it's more interesting to follow characters who knew what it was like, because it's sort of more devastating that way. But that scene definitely made me realize, like, oh, this is actually really gut-wrenching in a way too, because they don't know what it's like, and they're seeing a monkey in a cage and they're like, what? And so it's really interesting in that way. I liked the orangutan. What was his name?
Like Rocco or something?
Yeah, something like that. He was really cool. I'm very mad that he did not make it very far in this film. But his whole thing about, like, there's a whole overarching theme of, like, Caesar is still known, and he's sort of like a Jesus character. Who, like, his words are getting twisted by the bad guys, and then there are some, like, purists who are like, we know what Caesar was all about. I think that was sort of interesting. It was kind of, like, almost goofy, because they had, like, his window frame as a pendant that they were wearing. I was
and it became kind of, like, because it was spray painted on the thing, it almost became, like, is it supposed to be, like, the swastika?
So true. That's such a good point. It was kind of strange. That was kind of weird, but it was an interesting thread to follow, because at first I was like, what? Okay, I guess we're just trying to put Caesar's name into the movie to keep people interested. But then I'm like, he would be their Jesus, because he was the first, like, major political leader of this new sort of whole race of apes. So I'm like, of course you'd still be talking about him. And the whole thing about the third one is that they'll know who Caesar is. Mm-hmm. So I guess it worked towards the end. Once I was, like, getting into the story, I was like, okay, this makes sense, and I'm interested, and I can get behind it. That'll be it for me. What did you like about it?
Pretty much the same stuff. The action sequences were really, really good, filmed very well. I liked it. There was a lot of shots with one of the bad guys, this, like, gorilla,
the big
like,
guy,
the henchman guy. Character, we'll get into that, but as far as, like, making him intimidating through the camera shots, like, there are a lot of really scary ways they filmed him. Like, in the beginning, the camera's kind of following our main character Noah as he's looking for his dad, and then you kind of see this huge scary gorilla pop up in the background. You're like, oh god.
Yeah, it sort of reminded me of, I like how they did stuff like that a lot in the other films, where there's one scene in Dawn of the Planet of the Apes where, like, you see Blue Eyes as a shadow, and he looks exactly like Koba, and he's, like, creeping forward, and you're like, oh god. And then it's him, and they kind of were playing off of that, I think, with some of the shots in this one.
Yeah, especially in the third act, when you see, like, his shadow in the water behind, like, that was really cool too.
I like it when they do that.
Yeah, action was really good. I loved the whole third act in the base.
Yeah, that was cool.
Yeah, like you said, the apes finding the pictures of way back, what's familiar to us but wouldn't be to them. It made it really easy to put yourself
in their shoes.
Yeah,
Yeah, that was
like,
the moment where I was like, okay, I get it now.
because what if you're following this person who's telling you it's okay, like this is what's right, it's gonna work, but then you look at these pictures of like you in a cage
Yeah,
in the past, and you're like,
they're with a human who is like, she wants sort of things to go back to how they were, and then they see that and they're like, oh.
yeah, I think that whole sequence was really, really good. I actually get so anxious about like floods and stuff in movies, so that I was like,
especially because
like,
it was an enclosed space.
Yeah, I'm not that claustrophobic like in real life, but for some reason in movies, when I'm like picturing that I'm in the movie, I get like super, oh, I don't like this, enclosed space, stop.
Yeah, so, well, they have like extra like sound effects and stuff like that helps. And
it was so like very tense as you're seeing everyone get whipped around by the water. You're like, oh,
and they're monkeys. Monkeys can't swim.
I know.
And they killed off Rocco with water, so like that sort of sets the precedent of water bad.
I honestly thought he was gonna come back though.
Me too.
Because I thought it just kind of.
Maybe he washed up somewhere. Maybe he will come back if they make another movie.
Yeah, it didn't look like that bad. I mean, I guess, but
for a monkey who can't swim, it's bad.
I don't know. I just thought he was gonna pop up at the end.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. Also, like you said, I like the whole concept of like Caesar being the Jesus figure and someone like claiming like the name I am Caesar. It's like, whoa, it's definitely meant to mirror a lot of things that happen in real life. And it would have been so easy for them to, let's make the bad guys like a group who wanted to follow Koba, and it's like a cult that believed what he said rather than Caesar. Instead, no, let's make them
still follow Caesar.
Yeah, but just completely twisted, which is very realistic. So I liked that a lot.
Yeah, I kind of almost wish they went into that more, because they only really introduced the big bad almost at the third act.
Yeah.
And you don't really get to see like what he's about very much. I mean, they show, you know, why he's bad, but I don't know. I just wish they spent more time with that to make it a little bit more more of a concrete villain and more intimidating.
Yes. Now let's get into the things that we were like, not so big on, or so. I think the biggest thing for me is the characters. Yeah. They're all very generic. And this entire movie feels rather generic compared to the trilogy before. Totally. It's a perfect, like, it's entertaining. It's a good popcorn movie to turn on. Like, it's not boring or anything, but just comparing it to the previous three, it's like, this is just...
I didn't feel nearly as much as I usually do.
Yeah. You have generic hero, good guy. Yeah. Generic bad guy. Generic side character who's like, I want to do this, and the main character's like, I don't know. It just was like, it doesn't have that spark of something else.
No, and like, we talked about in the last episode how much Caesar, like, even instantly in that first movie, was such a compelling character. This main character, I didn't feel nearly as much for. Even though, like, we were already in his world, like, he instantly undergoes a tragedy, and you're instantly on his side, but, like, I don't know, I never really got there with him, like I did with Caesar.
He feels like a side character towards the end, even.
Yeah.
It was kind of like, it feels like the human character, the woman, whose name is May?
May, and they call her Nova.
They call her Nova at first. But it seemed like she started to become the main character in the third act. And we didn't really know anything about her previously, so it was like, I don't really care.
Yeah, it was kind of odd. The only character that I really liked was Rocco.
Yes.
That was the only person I was like, okay, I'm rooting for him. all day. Yeah. I like his friend, Noah's friend, Anaya, was that his name?
Oh, yeah.
He was good, but he wasn't in it very much.
No.
And then there was some romance going on
Yeah, that
with
felt
him. I'm like,
kinda...
okay. The romance has never been very compelling in Planet of the Apes movies, at least the
Was
newer
there
ones.
even a I can't
He
remember.
has Caesar has a wife, and then Blue Eyes has a girlfriend, but they're just like there to be the girlfriends. That's the other thing. There's like no female speaking apes in the other movies. They finally have some in this one, which I did appreciate.
Which
Even
startled
though
me at first. I was like, oh dang, I forgot there's ladies.
girl voices. But yeah, I mean, they're not very compelling characters, but
No, we didn't have any. And when it comes to the villains too, it's just okay. Here's bad guy, and he wants to
yeah,
get into this vault.
compared to the other movies, like War for the Planet of the Apes especially has a great villain, whereas this one is just like he's just a bad guy.
Yeah. Interesting idea for the bad guy, but like you said, it took. I remember like an hour in.
Yeah,
I was thinking, isn't there supposed to be a guy who's like?
They talk about him.
Yeah.
But he doesn't show up for a really long time.
Until like the end of the second act. Which was odd.
And then they bring in William H. Macy, who I don't know why.
Again, so we could
Frank
have more
from
scenes.
Shameless. He came back to haunt us. After he died as Shameless, we were finally rid of him. He came back to haunt us in Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes.
For no reason.
I know, I feel like he must have been friends with the directors.
Yeah.
Because his character was just there.
So we got more scenes with the human lady.
The humans were not compelling. Usually the humans, while definitely not the highlight of any of the Planet of the Apes movies, are at least interesting enough that you are like fully enveloped in their story. These ones, not so much. I mean, it was kind of interesting how sort of like morally gray the girl was. Like you didn't know whether you were on her side or not. And it sort of makes you think, because you're like, I understand where she's coming from because I'm a human and I know what it's like to live in a world where we have power and like it must be awful to have taken away. But I don't know. I just never really.
There was no reason for us to care about her.
Yeah, you don't know anything about her, and then suddenly she's like, there's so much going on with her.
Yeah.
And she has so many plans, and it's like, okay.
She seemed like some random, like she was all scared of them, and she was like trying to get food, but then all of a sudden she's like, oh yes.
Yeah. Then she's like, I am here, and I know things.
It was very odd. There was nothing that felt. In Rise, Dawn, and War, all of them, there was whatever the adversary was, even if whether it was the villain or just in general, what they had to overcome, it was very intense.
Yeah.
And like, oh gosh, are they gonna make it? I don't know. This is pretty scary. I never felt that on a large scale in this movie.
Because it is such like a beat for beat basic story. You're like, okay, good guy defeats bad guy. When is it gonna happen?
Yeah.
That's all you're really waiting for.
He has daddy problems.
Yeah.
Now he doesn't. He overcame.
Yeah. The eagle stuff was kind of cool.
Yeah. I don't know.
It's kind of just there though, you know, like, okay, we like eagles.
I wanted so bad to like feel, because I knew as soon as like he has trouble getting it to land. I'm like, so the big moment's gonna be when he gets it to land. The big moment was
kind of underwhelming.
Yeah, I wanted so badly. I mean, the music was so cool when it happened and everything, but I was just kind of like, okay.
Did he earn it? I don't know.
He said he was sitting there and he's like, oh, they're right. We can't do this. Yeah. But maybe we can. And then he...
Exactly. That was a kind of a weird scene. But I did like the scene where he uses the eagles to defeat the bad Caesar.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
That was cool. Not exactly earned, because everything before it wasn't super
Everything
compelling.
just, like, happens.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, and the bad guy's here, and oh, now he's dead. And
yeah, the pacing was very odd overall.
Yeah.
I would say. My favorite part of the movie was when Rocco is there, because I feel like the pacing makes sense, and it is sort of, I like how they're like traveling and getting to know each other. I like that kind of stuff.
Road trip movie.
Yeah, Fellowship of the Ring. Ever heard of it? That's what I like. So that part was my favorite, but after Rocco was gone, I don't know, the pacing kind of got weird, and I wasn't interested in many of the characters.
There was a lot I felt that was definitely trying to be an homage to the original. Like, specifically with them, the whole scene where they're hunting the humans, and they very similar shots to the iconic scene in the original, where they're like throwing the nets and everything. But it was just there to be there, that scene. It was just there to be like, oh, here's what they did.
And they also already did that homage in Rise, because they like did the same thing but with the apes. So a lot of this movie I was like, we're like sort of retreading the stuff that we've already covered in the other movies.
Yeah.
Just
definitely.
in a different time period. Because like the message of the movie, can apes live with humans in peace? Haven't we been dealing with this for like the past?
I don't know. They tried to answer that 3 times and they
Yeah,
can't
I
figure it
think
out.
I give up, honestly.
Unless the message is no.
I know. Yeah, then it's kind of weird because we get to the end and the human woman has succeeded at getting what she wanted from the base, which is a way to contact other humans. And it's supposed to be like this hopeful scene, but then it's also kind of like not hopeful because something might happen to the apes. So I don't know. The message was kind of convoluted to me, even though like it is compelling as an audience member to be like, yay, humans, but not ape.
You don't know what to feel. And it felt, because they're all looking up in the sky and we never see what Noah saw.
Yeah, but he looks
telescope.
concerned. Yeah.
I guess it's supposed to be like a spaceship or something.
That was my guess.
Which, again, are we hinting at it's going to be like the original where the people crash land? I don't know. The beach they were on at the end with the kingdom that the Proximus Caesar is ruling over, especially the first shot of it, it felt like it was supposed to be the beach from the original with the Statue of Liberty.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, even from the trailers.
Yeah.
I thought that was going to be what most of the movie was on the beach.
Yeah.
But yeah, rewatching the other 3 in Rise, there's a sort of in the background going on. You see a news segment on TV that's saying like a new rocket is launching, the Icarus. And then you see a newspaper later on in the movie that says they got lost in space. So it might have just been like a little wink wink homage to it, and it doesn't really matter. But then now I'm like, now they're doing this, I'm like, oh, I wonder if they're coming back finally. 300 years later. Listen, Inception says that time moves differently in space.
They did that in Interstellar too.
Or that's what I meant. Interstellar, not Inception.
So maybe. I don't know. They're obviously planning on making more. I think somebody said they're making 9 or something.
I was thinking it was going to be a trilogy again, because everyone loves making trilogies these days.
I don't know. Maybe they'll get better.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Because Rise is probably my least favorite of the others. Not that it's a bad movie by any means, but they definitely go up in quality. But I don't know.
Oh, that's another thing. The effects were on and off in this.
Okay, yeah. That was my biggest thing. Right off the bat, I was like, this is not on par with for the Planet of the Apes at all. War, I could stare at that movie for days, and I wouldn't get bored of how beautiful it is. That movie has probably the best effects I've ever seen. The monkeys are actually there. I swear to God.
They turned
real.
Andy Serkis into an actual monkey.
And Andy Serkis is like so good at that type of acting. When he's not in the movie, it's like you're really missing something.
We really found the key to those movies working was
Andy
Caesar
Serkis.
and Andy Serkis.
And again, Caesar's just a great character anyway. Like,
Yeah.
There's no one on par with him in this new film, which makes it, like, it feels a little more empty than the others.
Yep.
But yeah, the effects, I think that the main guy looked really good. Other than that, it was on and off for me.
Yep. They had some shots where they just look flimsy.
Yeah. It looks more rubbery than it did in War for the Planet of the Apes. I swear, it looks like there's a monkey right in front of the camera in most of the shots.
It looked closer to Rise, the effects in Rise.
Yes.
But maybe at times like even worse.
Just because now we're like in a time where like the standard is kind of higher, maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Definitely. I mean, I remember when Rise first came out and everyone was saying how amazing the effects
because it was for that time.
Yeah. But then obviously with Dawn and then War, it just
keep getting
stepping up.
That I can't get over how good Caesar looks in War.
Yeah.
One of the Apes. But I think something that I did find interesting is the ways in which they made the main character look like Caesar. The face structure was kind of similar, and he had a similar like missing patch of hair in the same place that Caesar does. That was like his birthmark. So I'm like, he's gotta be a descendant of Caesar. That's like they're heavily hinting at that.
I think that's the plan.
Yeah.
With this new series.
I would almost be happier if they didn't even mention it, but like the audience knows because we know Caesar that we're like, he looks like Caesar. He's gotta be. Like, I kind of like that because no one would know. It's been so many years.
Yeah.
No one would actually know who he comes from,
and
except for us.
If they gave more like little hints that only we pick up, that would be pretty cool.
I like that.
But we'll see. I don't know. It didn't blow me out of the water.
No. But the water blew the apes.
The water did blow me out of the water, I gotta be honest.
That was a cool ending sequence, for sure.
Yeah. It's definitely not, I mean, it's worth a watch for sure.
Yeah. I don't regret seeing it in theaters.
Yeah.
I think.
We got
especially
Dippin' Dots.
because it's such a big budget movie. Like, it's a theater movie for sure.
Yeah. I'm not at the point with Planet of the Apes where I'm like, I don't want to give you my money.
Yeah.
Stop making these movies. But
maybe in a few
if
more.
they're making 9, then...
With Jurassic World, it quickly... Well, I don't know. I liked the second Jurassic
second
World.
one's really good.
The third one?
Oh,
I never want to see that film again.
No. That was something.
That was something else.
Sometimes I think about that movie, I'm like, was that real?
Yeah, same.
Or was that a bad dream? Oh, that was
We
bad.
saw that when we were in, was that San Luis Obispo? That place?
Yes.
We have only seen awful movies in that theater.
We're 3 for 3. We had Hitman's Wife's Bodyguard, Jurassic World Dominion, and freaking Indiana Jones Dial of Destiny, the worst movie of 2023.
Now that's a triple feature that I would not be caught dead sitting through.
No, every single one of those movies, I'm like, I wish so badly that I could take a nap right now and not witness this movie.
I think, did I go? No, I almost walked out and went to the bathroom in Dial of Destiny, but I did fall asleep during like one scene in that movie.
I wish. I was sitting there like, oh, please, dear Lord.
I woke up, I fell asleep once they were on the ship, and like, I think Indiana was talking about how his son died. Like, I woke up just enough to catch what was going on, but I was like, yeah, I definitely dozed off.
They killed off Shia LaBeouf off screen. That was... that movie's weird.
Yeah.
And garbage and boring.
The time travel at the end.
Oh my god. And he like wants to stay.
That was crazy. Oh my gosh.
Like, what are you doing, Harrison Ford?
I know. He likes those movies more than Star Wars?
No.
Get your priorities
he
straight.
wants to not be in anything.
He doesn't like Indiana Jones either?
I don't think so.
Oh, I thought he liked it more.
But he'll still come back for all these movies and not be happy about it, which I don't blame him when it comes to this garbage. But anywho, a little off-topic rant. This movie's way better than Dial of Destiny.
Definitely. I would recommend this 100 times over.
Yep. It's, I mean, yes, it's generic, and that's kind of the big problem I have with it, but also a generic popcorn action movie isn't that bad.
No. And yeah, like if it wasn't a Planet of the Apes movie, I'd probably like it. you know, because there's so many, the movies that we have come out before are so much better that, like, I don't know. It's a hard standard to live up to, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, I think if this were its own thing, though, I would watch it and then
Forget
I'd
about
forget
it.
about it
Yeah,
immediately.
that's true. That's true.
The only thing that's making me keep thinking about it and continue with it is because I know it's connected to the movies that I liked.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, oh yeah, I want to see, like, is Caesar gonna come back into play or whatever.
Yeah.
But if it were just Joe Schmo, I'd be like, anywho, what was that
Just
movie
the
I
Ape
saw
movie.
the other day?
Kind of like that one with The Rock.
Oh, Rampage?
Yeah.
I never saw that.
Me either, because I didn't care, so we
No,
probably wouldn't have even seen it.
That was when The Rock was doing a bunch of weird...
And he
Big
was
budget.
dressed the same exact way in every movie that he was in.
That was San Andreas, that movie, and then...
Wasn't Jumanji around the same time?
I think so. And then, what was that, Skyscraper?
Oh, God.
With
he in
Nev
another
Campbell.
one? Oh, my gosh. Okay.
Yeah, he's... Yeah.
The Rock went on a rampage.
Jungle Cruise?
Jungle Cruise.
Jesus. Well, anywho.
I think that's all we have to say. What is your rating out of 10?
Out of 10? I'd probably just give it a 5, honestly. Just good action.
Mm-hmm.
It's Planet of the Apes, so
Yeah.
I like that world. But at the end of the day, it's just kind of a by-the-numbers action-adventure movie.
I'd give it like a strong 6.
That's fair.
That's my rating.
Yep. So, we just made the same noise.
We did. I could see the spike in our microphone noises.
Ew. So, apart from that, what we watched last night, finally,
Emily's excited.
started watching Mary and George, and it is just as good as I hoped it would be. It's so tongue-in-cheek and funny.
I appreciate the humor.
Yeah, Nicholas Galtzine is so funny, and Julianne Moore is awesome, and it's...
Yeah, Julianne Moore is definitely a standout.
Yeah, and it's fun, you know, like, it's silly.
The production design's good. I love the costumes.
Okay, I don't know what kind of awards the Emmys have, but if there's any for production design and costume, this has to get it.
Yeah, it's so nice to look at. I just want to look at it all the time.
Everything from the title sequence to just the lighting, the sets and the costumes, it's just so pretty to look at. The colors pop, and that's all I want.
Yeah.
And I love it.
And
Costumes are awesome.
Not super plot heavy.
I mean, it's definitely... Sex is the plot.
Yeah, pretty
The
much.
plot has everything to do with sexual things.
Yeah. Which is why, like, I hate it when movies have an unnecessary sex scenes that don't add anything. But this one is, like, it's, like, sex and intrigue. So, like, you have to have it.
It's the story is about sex, essentially. It's a big part of what the story is. So
I understand why it's there so much.
They've been pretty good so far. Sex scenes. I haven't had any complaints.
There's a lot of butts.
There's a lot of male on male bodies everywhere. Not a lot of women so far.
Which is kind of refreshing.
Yeah. Us ladies are finally like, yeah, something for us for once. Although anything's good for me.
They keep saying it. Beautiful bodies. Bodies are bodies.
Bodies are bodies, and that's all I've been saying this whole time. I'm really enjoying it. We're only 3 episodes in. But also, I have such a problem with TV shows moving so slow, and this one, like, it moves so fast.
I'd say it's a pretty good pace.
They're all 50-minute episodes, and they feel like nothing to me. So that's a huge positive. Yeah. I hope it continues.
And it's only 7 episodes, which is
That's
definitely
very nice.
manageable.
There's an end point to the story that they are
going towards
with intention, not just like,
maybe we'll get there one day.
We want this to keep going, so just keep doing some random stuff. Yeah, I really, really enjoy it.
What else have we watched?
I don't think anything new. Just Breaking Bad.
Breaking Bad. I've been watching Dance Moms. We watched the Dance Moms reunion. We didn't go over that.
Are there any reality TV fans?
Yeah, I mean, everyone's been talking about the Dance Moms reunion. You wasn't part of it.
Oh, Dance Moms.
I thought it was sad. They cried so much.
There was a lot of crying.
Everyone
It was definitely
was
a reality TV reunion.
Yeah, they tried to. They were so obviously trying to create drama between the girls. I'm like, they're beyond that. We're past this.
It was kind of silly.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love all the girls. They're all grown up and
yeah, it was cool to see them again.
Yeah, Chloe's the best. I love Chloe.
Chloe has her own dance competition now, which is cool.
Yeah.
Or is that what they call it? She's like running a dance competition.
Yeah.
Which is cool.
Dance Moms is just wild.
Yeah. I've been rewatching some of the episodes, and first it's drama filled.
Yes.
Those poor children.
I'm not a big reality TV person because it can be so cringe, and I have really bad secondhand embarrassment, so I'm like, I can't do it. But
anyone watch the Vanderpump Rules reunion? I was there.
There are like Dance Moms, Below Deck, Vanderpump is okay.
Yeah, I like stuff that revolves around a workplace.
Yeah,
when it's like the Housewives, sometimes I can't.
Yeah, I can't get into those.
Some of them I will, but most of the time I just kind of get bored. What about Summer House? Do you like Summer House?
Sometimes it depends. I liked the challenge. The
challenge
is really good,
but now it's getting old.
Yeah,
Johnny Bananas is still there.
Oh my god! I love $1 Million Listing. That's a great one.
But that one's not on anymore. You never see it. Yeah.
Oh, that's a good one though.
Yeah, that one we always watched that one back in the day.
Ink Master.
Does anyone know anything? I hope the people who watch this
Everyone's
podcast knows reality TV.
Ink Master was a big part of my childhood for a second.
Yeah. We get into the reality TV here.
Baking Championship, Halloween Wars, competition shows are fun.
Yeah. Project Runway.
Oh,
I
yeah.
love Project Runway.
Project Runway is one that kind of makes me mad, though.
It's
everyone's
very
so prissy.
stressful. Yeah, everyone's mean. That's not a fun, light-spirited competition. That one is intense competition.
I get pretty annoyed.
Yeah.
But I do love clothes.
Mm-hmm.
So.
I love watching the runways at the end of the episodes. When Project Runway comes back on, I probably will at least talk about whoever won on the podcast.
We should have an episode about reality TV.
It is interesting.
Yeah.
Like, there's stuff to talk about there.
Definitely.
And there you have it. That's pretty much been our lives recently, movie-wise, media consumption-wise.
Yes. Mary and George and reality TV.
Yes. Still, I'm waiting for a Stranger Things teaser someday. I really can't wait until I have more news to share with you all.
So just pictures that you can't even put on the screen because they're
I know, I just have to describe everything in detail. I will be doing a breakdown of any teaser we get, any posters we get. I will be going over them pixel by pixel, and you better be seated.
Yes. You know you like it, so tune in.
You do! You care about this as much as I do.
Yes. You wouldn't be here if you didn't.
Anyway.
So, if you want more of this amazing content, make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel so you are always up to date on our lovely episodes. You can subscribe to us on Apple Podcasts, on Amazon Music, Spotify, iHeartRadio, so many places. Mm-hmm. You can also follow us on Instagram, TikTok, or Facebook to just stay in touch with what's going on, any news, all our audio clips, which are really funny because Kayla edits them. We are at We Just Want to Talk Movies on all of those platforms, and that's it for this episode.
And importantly, before we go, this episode is our penultimate episode of the season, I guess you could call it. Our next episode is going to be our last one until later in the year, and we're going to be talking about summer blockbusters in preparation for the summer season when many movies come out, although this year I don't know, but we'll get into it. And we will catch you on the flick side. I dropped my earbuds. Come on.